A good evening to you all, and thank you for joining us here on Rwanda Television News tonight. We do hope you had yourselves a productive Tuesday. Now here's a sneak peek of our edition tonight. Genocide convicts who are soon to be reintegrated into society have been urged to be extremely cautious and avoid any actions that could rekindle hatred among Rwandans. At the Ntarama Genocide Memorial in Bugesera district on Tuesday, 25 bodies of Tutsi who were killed during the genocide were laid to rest with dignity. On the international scale, the UN says more than 400 people have been killed in recent attacks by the paramilitary rapid support forces in Sudan's Darfur region, citing what it has called credible sources. Once again, we're glad to have a company tonight, coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali, and I bringing you tonight's English Bulletin is Martina Abera. This afternoon at Urugwiro village, President Paul Kagame received Honorable Yassine Fall, Senegal's Minister of African Integration and Foreign Affairs, who delivered a message on behalf of President Bassirou Diomaye Faye. President Paul Kagame also met with Chief of General Staff of the Ethiopian National Defense Force, Field Marshal Birhanu Jula, and his delegation who are in Rwanda for a working visit. In Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Rwanda's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Ambassador Olivier Nduhungirehe, has attended the 24th Extraordinary Session of the African Union Executive Council. The session focused on the election and appointment of new members to the Peace and Security Council, the African Union Commission on International Law, and the African Space Council. Genocide convicts who are soon to be reintegrated into society have been urged to be extremely cautious and avoid any actions that could rekindle hatred among Rwandans. This was the message from Dr. Jean Damascene Bizimana, Minister of National Unity and Civic Engagement, delivered as the convicts approached the end of their sentences. After nearly 30 years in prison, their testimonies reflect acknowledgement of their role in the genocide against the Tutsi, which claimed over 1 million lives in Rwanda. Nyamasheke prison, located in Machumba sector, currently hosts those who are just 3 months away from completing their sentences and preparing to return to normal life. It was here that Minister Bizimana met with them and urged them to stay far away from any actions or ideologies that promote hatred among Rwandans. The prisoners pledged to the minister and the people of Rwanda that they have changed. They also say that upon release, they will first seek forgiveness from their families, from the families of their victims, and contribute to building the country alongside other Rwandans. 170 inmates currently undergoing reintegration preparations at Nyamasheke prison were selected from various prisons across the country, including the women's prisons of Nyamagabe and Ngoma. Between 2023 and 2027, a total of 8,810 convicts are expected to be released. All of them will pass through Nyamasheke prison, where they will receive training in unity and resilience, as well as information on the country's current development progress. Yesterday, a notice circulated widely on social media platforms, allegedly from the Rwanda Revenue Authority, indicating that individuals who earn income from working at events such as weddings would be taxed. However, in an interview with the Deputy Commissioner for Taxpayer Services and Communications of the Rwanda Revenue Authority, Jean-Paul Witonze, refuted many claims made in the notice. He also clarified the approach and structure the institution has established regarding the taxation of those who earn a living by organizing or working at events, including weddings.
The form circulating on social media is normally information that we request from operators in the sector of event management. And this is information that we've been exchanging from some time back. It's not new. The purpose of the information you're requesting is actually to bring more effectiveness in the works of tax collection. Particularly in this area, we've seen people that are not registered in taxes, and others who are registered but are not paying due taxes. So this information will help us to do analytics, and once we find out that there is discrepancy in the analysis, either there are people who are not registered, companies not registered, or individuals, or registered but not paying actual taxes they should be paying, then we'll be able to tell them to rectify their declarations, or we tell them to register on taxes, because this is a legal obligation for whoever operates in the sector. The Commissioner General of Rwanda Revenue reiterated on what we've been doing. And definitely there are good plans to tackle the sector of creative industry, whereby we see a lot of potential, and there's been a lot of investment in the sector, and we cannot ignore that there is some tangible taxes that we should be collecting in the sector. But what we request is to avoid speculations. There are people who are circulating rumors that there are new taxes meant for this sector, which is not right. It's very wrong. And they are circulating about taxable people. That is also not right. They are only taxing service providers who should be actually they should be taxed. That's the first thing, and they should be registered as well on taxes. So it's nothing new, and it's no new tax. It's then the normal tax laws that we are implying in this sector, and it's not even happening today. It's only that people have gotten to know this information that we are requesting from these operators today, but otherwise it's been there for some time. We've got some informal operators in the sector, and this information will actually help us to tackle that. But the message we can send out through all this is, if anyone has been operating without registering on taxes, it's the right time to actually go and register before we find out, because we are actually doing good analytics of the data we have. And if there is anyone who has been also under-declaring their taxes, this is also high time to go and rectify, actually, before we face them and audit them or do other enforcement measures. So it's actually like a message to them to say, do the right thing when it's time, before we actually come ourselves to enforce the provisions of the law. The business owners that have been compliant to tax obligations, we encourage them. Those who have been not compliant, and there are some who actually feel that they shouldn't be taxed, although they should be. So all of those should be taxed, and they should actually accept this as a legal obligation. We are all paying taxes, and we are paying taxes to build our country, not to go anywhere else. And we are witness. We have eyewitnesses of what the taxes are doing for us.
In Chahinda sector, Nyaruguru district, during the 31st commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi, leaders called on young people to take a stand against genocide ideology, especially given its persistence in the region where Rwanda is located. They also urged youth to live in ways that honor the dignity of those killed during the genocide. Chahinda, formerly part of the Nyakizu commune, had become a place of refuge for between 60,000 and 68,000 Tutsi who had fled from neighboring communes. Those who survived were mainly people who managed to escape to other areas like Eliane Munyengaba, who fled from Chahinda, reached Gatagara, passed through Gisenyi, and eventually made it to what was then Zaire. Today, she and other genocide survivors from Chahinda say they owe their survival to the Rwandan Patriotic Army, which stopped the genocide and restored life. They now live as husbands and wives, having rebuilt their families. The vice president of Ibuka, Christine Muhongaire, referred to how Tutsi were hunted down to be killed in Nyachizu, with perpetrators encouraged by the then President Theodore Sindikubwabo, who even came to thank them. She strongly urged young people to rise up against genocide ideology, which continues to be propagated in the region around Rwanda, to ensure genocide never happens again. The mayor of Nyaruguru district, Dr. Emmanuel, also called on everyone to embrace values that honor the memory of those who were killed in the genocide against the Tutsi. The commemoration event in Chahinda concluded with the laying of wreaths on the graves where more than 58,000 Tutsi were killed in Chahinda and buried. At the Nharama Genocide Memorial in Bugesera district on Tuesday, 25 bodies of Tutsi who were killed during the genocide were laid to rest with dignity. These bodies were recovered from the sectors of Nyamata, Mayanje, and Nharama. The Nharama Memorial already held over 5,000 bodies of Tutsi killed during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. The 31st commemoration event at Nharama was attended by government officials, members of parliament, and local residents who gathered to honor the memory of the more than 5,000 Tutsi who were killed and buried at the site. Jean Kairere, a survivor from Nharama, spoke about the painful history that survivors endured. Grace Uwera, speaking on behalf of families whose loved ones were buried on this occasion, offered condolences to those who have not yet found the bodies of their relatives. Eastern Province Governor Prudence Rubingisa expressed sorrow that even 31 years after the genocide against the Tutsi, some bodies are still being discovered, largely due to individuals who continue to withhold information. He urged young people to learn Rwanda's true history and to reject those who distort it or deny the genocide against the Tutsi, especially through social media. In addition to the 25 bodies buried at Nharama, another 320 bodies recently discovered in Nyamata sector will also be laid to rest with dignity during the 100-day remembrance period. The 10 bodies of Tutsi killed during the genocide against the Tutsi were laid to rest at the Ruhanga Genocide Memorial during a commemoration held in honor of over 37,000 victims buried there. This site, located in Ruhanga, Rusororo sector, Gasabo district, was formerly an Anglican church but has since been turned into a memorial due to the mass killings that took place there. The 10 bodies buried on Tuesday were recovered from various sectors of Gasabo district, a painful reminder for survivors that even 31 years later, many still have not found the bodies of their loved ones for a dignified burial. Witonze Betty, who was a child during the genocide, recalled how her family and neighbors fled to the church at Ruhanga seeking refuge, only for many of them to be killed there. Gilbert Ndamukunda, another survivor from Rwanda, shared how the genocide had been planned long before 1994. He and other fellow survivors expressed gratitude to the RPF forces that stopped the genocide. The Minister of State in the Ministry of Infrastructure, Olivier Kabera, who joined the commemoration at Ruhanga, called on citizens to reject all forms of genocide ideology. Ruhanga Genocide Memorial stands as a powerful testament to the brutality of the genocide against the Tutsi. Every year on the 15th of April, survivors gather there to honor the victims buried at the site, lay flowers on their graves, and share testimonies of survival and rebuilding. Teachers and students have expressed appreciation for the government's Ndamura Bushobozi for weekend remedial learning initiative, which is currently supporting over 237,000 learners who showed weak performance in assessments from the first and second terms of the 2024-2025 academic year. Both students and teachers have noted the significance of the program, saying it offers a renewed chance to those who did not reach at least 50% in various school-based assessments. Flora Mutezigaju, the Deputy Director General at the Rwanda Basic Education Board, has stated that this year's program particularly targets candidates preparing for national exams to boost their knowledge and performance in alignment with the country's desired quality of education.
The remedial education program is a program of the Ministry of Education that intend to improve quality of education in general. So this program started with lower primary student. And this is because when you look at the education statistics, we have a high repetition rate in lower primary, which is around 36%. This is a challenge. And to address this challenge, the remedial education program came in. This is a program where we support learners who are struggling academically with the aim to support them to achieve the grade level competence. So we started this program targeting lower primary students who repeated after the whole year. They did the exam, term 1, term 2, term 3 exam, and they were not able to meet the grade competence. So those who are not able to meet the grade competence, we targeted them during the holiday. So we trained teachers on how to conduct a remedial education program. That is how they use remedial education strategy to support struggling learners. So of the learners who were not able to meet the grade level competence and therefore were supposed to repeat, they came and we support them. 64% of them met the grade level competence and they were promoted to the next level. That is in lower primary.
Yeah.
Because of that success, the 64% of learners who are able to be supported, promoted to the next grade, this is a very good achievement in terms of learners' motivation, in terms of costs that is spent on repeaters, which is for both parents and the government.
Yes.
So because of this success, we said for the candidate classes, candidate learners or student, P6 student, senior 3 student, senior 6 student, those students who are going to sit for the national exam, and those students that we are seeing that they are struggling to meet the competence. We said we should also use the remedial education program to support them. So that is how the remedial education program came in, targeting candidate classes. We are seeing a lot of achievement for candidate classes, because when you compare term 1 result of P6 senior 3 and senior 6 exam and term 3 exam, we are seeing a lot of achievement. So some students are able to move from 20% in term 1 to 49 or 60% in term 2. That is a lot of progress. It is so encouraging for both teachers and students. So they're so much motivated. Because maybe of two main factors. One is the motivation that students are seeing, the progress that they are doing, comparing term 1, term 2 exam, but also the the effort that everyone is putting in, teachers, students, parents, the Ministry of Education, REB, UNISA, all the education ecosystem, the effort that we are putting in, we are very confident that the national exam, the national exam results are going to be very good for P6, Senior 3 and Senior 6 student. So we are very confident, and we see that we are going to have many student candidates passing the national exam.
In primary 6, 139,000 out of 231,271 students expected to sit for national exams are receiving additional lessons under this program. In lower secondary or level, 94,000 out of over 152,000 students are part of the initiative. The upper secondary level, 23,454 out of 54,266 students preparing for final exams are participating. More than 34,000 teachers are currently involved in teaching during this break period, with the government covering their transport and other logistical costs. While these students are in school, they continue to receive meals and other regular provisions. The Ministry of Education has emphasized that in upcoming national exams, students will be required to score at least 50% in each subject. This is why the program currently focuses on those in candidate classes. For students in other grades, the Nzamura Bushobozi program will resume after the third term. In Rutsiro district, work has begun on developing a master plan for land use within the district. This will be the first such plan, and residents say they expect it to help identify residential areas that align with people's varying financial means. Rutsiro district previously had no land use master plan, and authorities say land was being utilized through informal agreements or mutual understanding. This is set to change with the official launch of the Land Use Master Plan on Tuesday. The Vice Mayor of Rutsiro District in charge of economic development, Emmanuel Uwizeyimana, said the plan will help resolve issues caused by the absence of a structured framework. The master plan is being developed by the Global Green Growth Institute in partnership with Rwanda Environment Management Authority and the Rwanda Land Management and Use Authority. A representative from GGGI, Jean-Pierre Mutnyeshaka, stated that the plan will help citizens develop themselves in a more organized and sustainable way.
Our district is really affected by disasters due to landslides. First of all, in this master plan, we need to cater for the specialties specific for the specialties of our district. We have our critical issues, as you can see, and also we have our opportunities that we cannot see in other districts. You know that we have trails for the tourism, we have the Lake Kivu, but if you can see, we can say that we are not developed as we can expect. First of all, in this master plan, we will make sure that investors we are attracting, whatever we want to do as the district, is really responding to the development of our district. We expect, number one, to have like area reserved for everything. If you are saying about tourism, it's reserved here. If you are saying construction of houses, building with specificity of greening, as we discussed in our meeting, we need to know where to put those buildings. If you are talking about industries, right industries, other activities, this master plan will respond to that. For us, that's very critical, and the master plan will respond to that. But also, the master plan will respond to issues that are being raised by our people. You know that people are asking for the building permit, and sometimes we are saying this house must not go here, this is not the real building we want. Maybe we want a house with 4 floors, and people are saying I'm going to build a normal house. Actually, this master plan will try to overcome those conflicts that I can say that can be between our people and the district in matters related to the provision of building permits, among others.
Use of sectors, if we take transport, industry, settlement, housing, so this scattered use of land has to be planned to avoid any conflicting issues. So the first thing to do is to avoid conflicting land users. If it is for agriculture, it is agriculture. If it is forestry, forestry. So that we minimize encroachment, either for here the case for the wreck and other protected area or even conservation. We have national park. So these are things to address, to avoid conflicting use, and also make sure that things are located where they fit for. Like if it is housing, people are settled where they cannot be face issues of disaster or even other hazardous zones that are avoided. If it is industries, they are located where they are not conflicting with conservation or people. So this kind of proper land use management will allow the use or even development to be well managed, and also the bigger objective is to make sure that the little land we have is well used or managed.
According to the plan, Rutsiro district will have 1 secondary city, Congo Nile, and 3 urban centers where people will be settled in an urban context. The master plan is expected to be completed within the next 32 weeks and will guide land use at least until the year 2050. Of the district's 13 sectors, 7 border Lake Kivu. It was announced that the land bordering the lake will continue to be used in accordance with the land use plan developed by REMA.
Nyiri muto arababwiraga data bati ntabwo agira umukamo mwinshi utunze inka imwe, ariko nigeze acika intege. Mama akinjira mu bucuruzi hari abamubwiraga bati ntabwo watera imbere udakorera mu iduka rigezweho, ariko ntibyamusubije inyuma, yakoranaga umwete. Njye muri kaminuza hari abanshidikanyagaho bavuga ko nashobora kaminuza naturuka mu muryango wifashije, ariko byarangiye nanditse amateka mashya. Igihe cyo gutera ishema umuryango wanjye kigeze, bamwe bakomeje kumbwira bati ntabwo watera umuryango wawe ibyishimo n'ishema, ariko narabishoboye. Hari abakekaga ko nasigira umurage ukomeye abankomokaho, ariko ubu mfite uruganda rutunganya amata. Banki ya Kigali yabaye umufatanyabikorwa wanjye mu rugendo rwose, inzozi zanjye ziba impamo. Bigereho.
Mvangiye kukubarira 1 2 3 itugwamo. So 1 2 3 gwamo. One bro.
Mbere kanda akanyenyeri 3 4 5 akanyenyeri 2 urwego maze nawe ugwemo.
Ndanezero umunezero nsaba umutima, ndakora akazi kanjye ndacatinga, data ntizishira, enda nawe gwamo.
Wikwisondeka.
Thank you once again for sticking with us on RTV News, and a warm welcome back to other stories making headlines on the international scene. The UN says more than 400 people have been killed in recent attacks by the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces in Sudan's Darfur region, citing what it has called credible sources. Last week, the RSF launched an intense ground and aerial assault on refugee camps surrounding the city of El Fasher in an attempt to seize the last state capital in Darfur, held by their rival, the Sudanese army. Sudan's civil war began exactly 2 years ago, causing what aid agencies call the world's worst humanitarian crisis and forcing millions to flee their homes. BBC News with more.
Hundreds of thousands of people are on the move from the largest refugee camp in the country after paramilitaries have taken control of it. The Rapid Support Forces have taken over Zamzam camp in northern Darfur following days of violence. Aid groups say at least 400 people have been killed and another 400,000 have fled. The refugee camp had been home to around 500,000 people, many who had famine-like symptoms. Well, in the 2 years of fighting between the Sudanese Armed Forces and the RSF, more than 150,000 people have been killed. The UN reports that 12.7 million people have been forced to flee their homes and 24.6 million are facing acute hunger in what it calls the world's largest humanitarian crisis. It estimates that it will cost $6 billion to respond to this. Al Fashir, the capital of North Darfur, is the last area which is still holding out against the RSF. Well, Rozan Ahmed is a displaced Sudanese activist who is now in Dubai, and she managed to escape Khartoum to the Egyptian border when the war broke out.
I was in Sudan when the war broke out on the 15th of April 2023. It was a shock to all of us as a community, and I think as a country. It was completely unexpected. We started hearing explosions around 10:30 in the morning, which was very strange considering it was Ramadan at the time. And so we were basically woken up by war. And I personally spent the next 3 weeks in the war zone and escaped when my neighbor's home was hit by a grenade and it burned to the ground. And so, you know, I guess that was my realization that I had to leave, and we left by road to the borders of Egypt.
We really appreciate you talking through what obviously is such a difficult time and experience for you. Obviously, the situation deteriorating on the ground in Sudan. This is a battle that's raging between two generals, arguably. Do you ever see a situation where you will possibly be able to go back?
Tragically, at this point in time, no, because like you've highlighted, we have two factions that are refusing to cease when it comes to violence and refusing to actually put their own nation and their own people first. And so for now, with criminality, with, you know, the ongoing violence, with the looting, with the raping, and with just so much ongoing that just makes it, the idea of going home is utopia now for me. But I pray constantly and hope constantly that our leaders will at one point prioritize their land and prioritize their population one day.
Over to Gaza, Hamas is said to have rejected an Israel proposal for a 6-week ceasefire in Gaza, which called for the armed group to give up its weapons. Israel is said to have submitted its latest ceasefire proposal to regional mediators late last week, just days after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met U.S. President Donald Trump in Washington. A senior Palestinian official familiar with the talks has said the plan gave no commitment commitment to end the war or for an Israeli troop pullout, key Hamas demands in exchange for releasing half of the living hostages which it holds. It is understood to be the first time that Israel has added Hamas disarmament as a condition for advancing a ceasefire, a red line for the group. It comes as Israel continues its military offensive in Gaza, with the UN agency warning that the humanitarian situation in Gaza is likely the worst it has been in the 18 months since the outbreak of hostilities. BBC once more.
I mean, basically, still we're far from any breakthrough in the ongoing ceasefire efforts to end the war in Gaza. We knew that last week Israel had put forward a new proposal via regional mediators who'd been working with the US on that. We understood that it demanded a lower number of hostages than Israel had previously asked for, 8 or 9 to be returned in exchange for a new 6-week ceasefire. But now what we've heard from a senior Palestinian official that really there's been no sign that Hamas can agree to this. It's saying that there is this new condition being attached by Israel for Hamas disarmament. That is something which is really seen as being a red line for the group. He said there was no commitment to end the war or for this full Israeli troop withdrawal from Gaza. Those have been key Hamas demands to return the remaining 24 living hostages it's believed to be holding. They have been kept underground in Gaza, we understand. They've been there now for 18 months. And Hamas previously had offered to free only 5 of those hostages as part of a new ceasefire extension deal. But this official did say to the BBC that Hamas was showing flexibility about the numbers. What we understand is that now Egypt has submitted a modified proposal to the group and that it is considering that.
And that BBC story marks the end of our bulletin. Before we head out, let's have a quick recap of our headlines. Genocide convicts who are soon to be reintegrated into society have been urged to be extremely cautious and avoid any actions that could rekindle hatred among Rwandans. At the Ntarama Genocide Memorial in Bugesera District on Tuesday, 25 bodies of Tutsi who were killed during the genocide were laid to rest with dignity. On the international scale, the UN says more than 400 people have been killed in recent attacks by the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces in Sudan's Darfur region, citing what is called credible sources. Once again, on behalf of the news production team as well as the technical team, thank you for sticking with us on RTV News. My name is Martina Avera. Up until next time, stay safe and have a good night.